From Television City in Hollywood.
You need a friend. I know y'all really gonna enjoy this one. So, hey, welcome back. So, there's a story behind it. There's always a story behind every song that I play. So, this episode is dedicated to someone. So, funny story. So, one of my guys, he watches, and I was with him yesterday over the weekend, and he always watch it, and his wife would be in the room, and she'd be like, I don't watch sports. I ain't got time for all of that foolishness, whatever y'all talking about. So I met her yesterday. I hadn't seen her in a while. So we were talking, and I was like, all right, if you don't do sports, what do you like? She was like, I like the old shows, the old reruns. She was like Good Times, and I was like, Welcome Back, Kotter, and what's the basketball one? White, God dog, I can't think of the name, the white basketball coach. So she's just talking about the old shows, Archie Bunker, whatever. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna give you some Good Times. I give you the intro. Now watch the show. So anyway, that's the story behind that. That's why we had Good Times today. But a classic, an old classic. But hey, welcome back. Apologies, nothing yesterday. Yesterday was a hard day with family. As I told you a couple weeks ago, we had a lot of I had some friends that lost their kids, man. That's probably one of the hardest things ever for someone to deal with as a parent. So it hurt me. So I know that these families are hurting too. So my prayers continue to be with all of them. So with that being said, welcome back. It's Sunday. God bless y'all. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're still in the weekend. Sunday fun day. But we're going to kick this off. So the stage is set. We are here. The NBA Finals start Thursday night. The Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Total population, I'm going to throw a random number out there. Maybe 8 million between both of them. I don't know what it is, but OKC, small market. Indiana, small market. You're going to get Mike Epps at the game. I don't even know who's famous in OKC. We're talking about that. I don't even think they show famous people on the sideline. But from a basketball standpoint, social media side, from a purist basketball standpoint, this is going to be a great series. We'll talk about it a little bit after, but let's talk about how we got there. So the Pacers put the Knicks away in 6. From the last time we spoke, it was 2-0 Pacers. Knicks back against the wall, game 3. Cat came out, had a great game, 24-15. I told you they were probably going to have to do something different, and they did. They started Mitchell Robinson to kind of get a little more defensive presence. And they came out today, they probably put the wrong guy on the bench. Today it came out, in the social media, that there was a lot of frustration with Cat's defensive play. And we know he can't play defense, but apparently he wasn't executing their plays or their defensive positions well. And that was led to frustration because, one guy's out of position, that can kind of just, you leave up. If you look at it and you see open layups, and that means that somewhere somebody blew us part of the scheme. Didn't cover, didn't flash. But anyway, so they start Robinson for the rest of the series, bring Josh Hart off the bench, and it helped. It slowed them down a little bit. Pacers were just too much. So game 3 to the Knicks, we go to game 4. Hallie plays amazing. 32, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, 0 turnovers. Great game. Siakam comes back, gives him 30. Mathurin gives him 20. Pacers rolled 3-1. Jalen Brunson played well in this series, but they frustrated him. He had to work very hard to get his point. And he's strong. So a lot of his points were, when he can get to his position in the mid-range, he's going to bounce off of you. but he didn't score a lot of face-up, getting to the rim kind of points. He normally had to get to the paint, do a pivot, do kind of a post move, and get his shot off because he can get space because of his shoulders. Pacers go up 3-1. Knicks back against the wall. We go back to the Garden. The Knicks prevail. They win one. They had to. Like, they couldn't lose the Garden. And this was, some games are emotional games. You could tell from the start of that game the Knicks were not going to lose that game. The Knicks came out, punched the Pacers in the mouth, kept the momentum throughout the game. Knicks get the win 3-2. Pacers get to go home. So that sets the stage for last night, right? 3-2. You kind of know the Knicks had pretty much given everything they had through these first 5 games. And Siakam is consistent. Their bench, we're going to talk about the Pacers bench, but Toppin, O'Connell, Mathurin, these guys came through. Then we got a sight of Bradley. They wanted to match the Mitchell Robinson thing, so they brought in Bradley. Thomas Bryant knocked down some big shots last night. I think he was 3 for 3 from the three-point line, which will be interesting as we go into the OKC series because you may need that to stretch the floor. But the Pacers had control of Game 6. That Siakam 3 covered my parlay late in the game. I'm glad he took it, knocked it down. Pacers were better. You look at that series in totality, the Pacers were better. They played better defense. You could have easily, Siakam walked away with the MVP. It's kind of funny. Watch the ceremony. Halliburton started walking like he was going to get it. But Siakam had averaged 20, 25 for the series. I think Holly was 21 and 10. It could have went both ways. Holly may, who knows what happens next. He may get a finals MVP. But anyway, the Pacers were just a better team. Siakam showed up. That was huge because that 1-2 punch between him and Holly. And then with Neesmith, Nembhard, Mathurin coming off the bench, Obi Toppin, Miles Turner was great, consistent throughout, kind of stayed out of foul trouble. The Pacers win. They go 4-2. We go over to the West. We knew OKC was going to win. It was just a matter of time. Minnesota got a win, and they got a blowout game. And you get those games. I don't think we're going to get that in the finals. But OKC just didn't come to play that game. So then they come back. The Thunder win the game by 2. And this game was kind of interesting because the starters, Julius Randle had 5 points. The reason this game was close, the bench gave them 64 points. And in these playoffs, Minnesota has something they got to figure out going forward. In a second, I'll talk to you about that. But Ant had 16 points. Ant struggled, and this is going to happen. He's going to grow, and he'll figure it out. You won't see this next year. He made the right plays. Ant will figure out how to get more aggressive when teams are throwing everything but the kitchen sink at you defensively. And I know Jordan and Kobe forced shots and made selfish plays. Sometimes you just got to do that. Like, you have to be selfish. And the reason I say that is on that team, they don't have guys that can score. That team doesn't have scores. They don't. You might get something out of Randall, played well, but he had some single-digit games, man. You got to come score every night. This is the difference between great players, good players, and the superstars, the uber superstar. Thunder come back. Game 4, they close it out. Game 5, Thunder blowout. It started off, it was 26-9 at the end of the first quarter. It was 65-32 at half. You kind of knew it was over. Minnesota was deflated, thinking about next season. OKC moves on, right? So we're here. Minnesota management, they need to go out and find some wing players. If you look at, you got Jalen Williams, he's good, but you need more. You need more. Mike Conley's probably going to end up going into a senior, kind of a leadership role. You got to give more minutes to DiVincenzo now. You brought him in there, you got to play him a lot more. But they need to go out and find some wing players. You look at what Indiana has done, they got a bunch of wing players. You look at OKC, they have a bunch of wing players, guys that can defend. You only need 1 or 2 bigs, Your roster needs to be full of guys from 6'4", 6'8", 72, 6.5, 7 foot wingspans, and they can move their feet, right? You need these guys, right? 3-and-D guys are that's kind of the foundation for a team right now if you want to be good. So we go here now. So now Thursday night, I'm excited. Indiana Pacers. It may not be, like we said, the limelight and the superstar. We got one superstar in this finals, and that's SGA. But we have a lot of very good basketball players, and I think that's what we're going to get. We have two well-coached teams. I don't think OKC is going to dominate Indiana the way people think they are, because they look a lot similar than people think. So I was going through the matchups, and this is how I see this playing out. Holly won't be sticking SGA because he can't risk getting in foul trouble that early. He'll have moments. I think Nembhard is going to stick SGA. Naismith, he'll stick Jalen Williams. Holly will stick Dort because Dort's he's not going to be a threat to him offensively or get him in foul trouble. Now, the bigs is where it gets interesting. I think Siakam will get the check call. So he can move with Chet, chase him on the perimeter. If you put it on the ground, he can go out and take it. And then Turner will match up with Hartenstein. And that works out. What's going to be interesting is when you look at the benches. Now, you got Caruso, Case and Wallace. Those are probably the key players off the bench. They have a couple other guys. Alexander Walker. No, I'm sorry, that's Minnesota. There's another Williams on the bench. But then you look at Indiana. Now they brought in Bryant and Bradley. So you got two bigs. You got Toppin. You got O'Connell. O'Connell's a pest. He's like Caruso. He's going to be a pest defensively. And you got Mathurin who can get you a lot of buckets. So this is why I say these teams are more similar than people think they are. Like, I know that the OKC defense is going to be smothering. But Rick Carlisle is smart enough where he's going to have some offensive sets that's going to make them work a little bit more, right? The floor is going to be very well spaced, right? So you're not going to get a lot of that double and trapping. And I think he's going to have it. You're going to see a lot of pick and roll, but he's going to be ready for that defense. I don't think they're going to be able to dominate him. And they also you have to respect all five guys on the Pacers floor. Problem with Minnesota was you didn't have to respect all these guys. You could leave guys open. They can't do that with the Pacers. So we're going to see something a little bit different. The Bryant and Bradley, you bring these guys off the bench, you got a lot of fouls to throw at Hartenstein and Chet. So you got four bigs out there. That's going to make a big difference. So where does that leave us? I still say OKC wins this. They win it in 6, but they're not going to dominate Indiana. I promise you this. Because of the way Indiana plays. OKC will win, and it will come down to SGA. They have the best player in the gym. But I think we're going to see a lot out of Halliburton. When he's aggressive offensively, he can create problems. So now the question is, on the other side, SGA has to stick somebody. So will he get in foul trouble? If I'm Indiana, I'm gonna try to get him in positions where I can get him backpedaling, I can get him off balance where he's fouling like Naismith. Between Naismith, Halliburton, and Nembhard, they got to try to get SGA in foul trouble because that's the only way you can get him off the court. So if you can attack him, maybe you get him in foul trouble, you get some opportunities. But that's what's going to happen. That's how I see it. OKC in 6. So shows get a little shorter. We're wrapping this thing up. Not a lot of noise in the NBA. Only thing, I don't know if everybody caught this, Jaren Jackson. So he didn't make any of the All-NBA teams, and I thought he should have. Well, that cost him $200 million on his Supermax deal. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. That was a lot of money. And I think he was one vote away from making third team All-NBA. $200 million. Painful. So anyway, that's where we are. Sunday, so we got a few days off. I guess we'll watch some college baseball, some WNBA. I think Caitlin should be back this week. And Paige Buchers was out in concussion protocol watching the rookies, so let's see. But we'll get there Thursday. We'll talk about Thursday. See, we had a few games through the weekend when we come back over the weekend, and we'll see how this series is progressing. So, hey, I appreciate y'all as always. God bless you. Thanks again, everyone, for the support. Continue to watch. God bless.